Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 24 of the 5-Minute Stitch. It is day 3 of week 10, the last of the week, and today we are back stitching on an old favorite. We are back stitching on the snail here, except this time I've gone over to the left-hand side to work on the area that I demonstrated for the parking article that I still have not written yet. I feel accomplished lately. I haven't gotten a lot of stitching done, but I have, even the few stitches that I have done, I feel like I've gotten quite far on several projects, and I do have several. I have a very large pile. It drives me, like, I don't understand people who are like, I can only do one project at a time. I very much admire their self-control in that aspect, because usually, like, I'm about at the halfway point for this piece, so, and about the halfway point, I was like, I kind of want to pick up something else and do something else now. So I started that Little Miss Crafty, which you saw in an earlier video this week. And then, of course, my cousin is having a baby girl, so I picked out a piece to do for her. And then I picked out one to do for her sister. And now I've got 4 small projects going at the same time, which is alright because these small projects go very quickly, which is part of why I feel so accomplished. Full circle there. I haven't done a lot of stitching on them, but the stitching that I have done, I feel like I've done a lot. I feel like I've gotten far on most projects. Like this one is about at the midway point here. All it's got left is this border of the green I'm doing and the yellow, the border, and the rest of this stitch here, the rest of the blue, and then the snail, and the blue up top. And that's it, and we're done, and just except for the back stitch, which there is not hardly any of at all in this piece. The only back stitch that I know of is one that's on the snail shell, and the face, and the antenna. There's also a couple French knots, which there's some French knots in the Little Miss Crafty piece too. Speaking of French knots, a lot of people say they don't know how to do French knots. I didn't know how to do French knots either, and then I did a cross-stitch piece for my boyfriend for our 18-month anniversary of the 1 Corinthians quote. It's a Janlin kit. You can find the information on it in the Friday Finishes article, which will be linked in the video description and in the article itself for this video. And it had about 50, if not more, French knots. And I learned very quickly how to do them. Some of them look kind of and it's not the first time I've done French knots either. I think I've done them once or twice on once or twice on other projects. But there were about 50 on that project, so I ended up learning how to do them in a method that works for me. Now, it could be that that's not how you're supposed to do French knots, but that's the way it works for me, and it looks good when I do it, so. But I haven't done them in a long time, because that project was, one of the only ones that I had to do that had French knots in them. French knots are not, all that common in, cross-stitch pieces. Just if, like, for example, the Corinthian piece was words, so it was all like dotting the I's and the periods and the semicolons and stuff. That's what all the French knots were for in that piece. The French knots in this one is for the eyes of the snail. The French knots in the Little Miss Crafty is for the buttonholes in the buttons. I totally forgot what I was talking about before I started talking about French knots. But yeah, I don't have very much. I think I was talking about progress. I don't have very much left to go on the few pieces that I am currently actively working on. I've got about at least 15 or if not more that I've started, but I'm not actively working on them. They're basically UFOs at this point. And we are almost at the 5-minute mark here. I just feel very accomplished. I feel like I think the weather's doing it. I think the weather makes me happy. It's been so nice. We had a very, very, very bad rainstorm, flash flooding and everything, but since then the weather's been very nice, and I very much enjoy it. I am definitely a summer girl. Okay. That is what we've gotten done so far, and that's been the last video of this week. You will see more starting next week. Of course, this is going up on a Sunday, so not very much longer to wait for another video. But it's been day 3 of week 10, and thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate all your support and your likes and comments and things. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.